Hi, my name is Rob from RSMP Tabletop, and I'm joined by Jared here at 5 Star Games in West Springfield. We're talking about the brand new kill team Raveners, the Tyranid kill team that everyone's been waiting for. If you'd like to get a hold of it or any other kill team, come on down to 5 Star Games. You can join the Discord below to have great conversations about what's happening in the world of miniatures and 40K and kill team. But come on down here, they have a great selection of 40K as well as an awesome selection of kill team. Anything you can think of, you can get in here. We're going to talk about the Raveners kill team. One thing that we're not going to do is put up a card and read out everything. So we're going to talk high level. I want to talk about strategies, what you're going to think about as you're building a team, getting ready for your first game with them or even against them. So really, the most interesting thing I think that this kill team brings to the table is the tunnel system. There's a whole system and tons of abilities on all the data cards and all their ploys about using this tunnel system. But the general idea is you have a strategic gambit. So every turn in the strategy phase, starting with the beginning, you're going to place a token. Then you're going to place the next token, and the next token, and the next token. And there's an invisible line that connects them. That forms your tunnel. If you or the enemy are anywhere near the tunnel, they're going to be, your guys are going to be a lot boosted. They're going to be able to do a lot of extra nickel and dime damage. They're going to be, have some cover saves. They're going to have all kinds of defensive tech on the tunnel. And then if your enemy is on your tunnel, God forbid, they're going to be eaten alive from the ground up, just swallowed by these amazing Raveners that are just going to be coming up and destroying things. The tunnel is also a trap. So that's one thing that I really want to get into because it can only be half of your strategy. You've got two operatives that thrive in the tunnel, the Tremor Scythe and the Fell Talon, that have a bunch of extra abilities that are really interesting and interact with the tunnel in fun ways. But then you have 3 other that aren't really, that can certainly benefit from the tunnel, but they don't need to. And they need to sort of, take over the other side of the table. I kind of view it as there's 2 ways to sort of approach the tunnel. Either A, you start from your home objective and go to the center objective as a way of sort of creating this nice little ferry. So if you're doing stuff on your home objective, you can easily pop over to the center objective, kill some guys, pop back, do your loot or whatever it is that you need to do on your home objective. If you are, other than that, another great way is to do it is you can kind of go straight to the middle objective and then up to their home objective, your opponent's home objective, and then all of a sudden you're just controlling this whole area of the board.
Not to cut you off, but just regarding the tunnel, just so people at home can know this too. Is there a limit to the distance that you can travel in the tunnel, or is it just pop in, pop out wherever you want? As long as it's connected to the tunnel.
If you are anywhere near, if you're near the tunnel or on the tunnel, right, in between the markers, you can do the burrow action and go into the tunnel. At that point, you're still activatable, you're still there, but the next time that operative does the tunnel, or does the burrow maneuver on the tunnel, they pop up anywhere. So you could be back on your drop zone, drop into the tunnel, you can deploy into the tunnel, and then, just wait, turn 1, turn 2, okay, now turn 3 strikes, and all of a sudden I'm popping up right between the 2, the middle objective and your enemy's home objective, and just causing absolute chaos.
Yeah, these guys seem super dangerous. I know we talked about it a little bit previously, but especially with their melee attacks, just being able to pop out of the tunnel, and you said they can burrow out into engagement range of somebody, correct?
Yep, absolutely.
That's disgusting.
And and you're not limited there. You can burrow out of the tunnel and then charge. And you can even get some benefits from charging that way. It's really dynamic and interesting. And it creates it's a whole psychological warfare game, which I think is really fun because your opponent is watching you slowly grow this tunnel towards them. And they know if they put their guys on it, they're going to get eaten. So you're going to create a whole area of just denying them, like, hey, yeah, you can come over here, but you might want to reconsider that.
And it's a 6-inch extension every time, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, you'll be able to get the majority of the way up the board from there, and that's really interesting.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I think it's going to make for a very dynamic game, and I think figuring out how to work around the tunnel is going to be crucial to really playing these guys well, both in how you're going to place it, but then also what you're going to do on the other side of the board, because you can't just only have fun in the tunnel, right? There's other parts of the game you have to do. You have to worry about your tac ops. You have to worry about the enemy trying to get to your home objective or whatever play they might be having on top of that. So you have 5 guys, which actually brings up an interesting dynamic, right? If this was a tunnel of Hormagaunts, it'd be a whole different thing because you could just be all over the board and have this tunnel thing. But you really got to pick and choose who's on tunnel duty, who's handling your back objective, and then who's flexing in between, because you can only spread your guys so thin.
Right. Now, one thing that I was really curious about to hear your thoughts on, so having the 5-up save with the gigantic 20 wounds. Oh, and actually, I see the Wrecker has a 4-up save, so that's actually even better. That's pretty good.
Yeah, one guy's little.
So what do you think? Do you think obviously you think that you need to kind of pick and choose your battles a little bit, but do you think these guys will struggle into melee against like any specific teams? Like, do you think they'll go into other like melee or elite teams really well? Like horde teams? Like, do you think they're good against that?
Yeah, so I think melee elite teams will be a bit on the tougher side to chew through. I mean, the good news is all of your ploys have a lot of, like, there's a bunch of kind of niche ploys that are really good against shooting armies, and a bunch of niche ploys that are really good about fighting melee armies. So you're actually pretty well equipped to handle all comers, but you're an elite team that doesn't play like you're almost not as survivable as a regular elite team, because that 3-up save does a lot of work on Space Marines.
For sure.
You still get like all the fun benefits of fighting twice and counteracting on conceal orders and stuff that elite teams get, but it's going to be a very different flavor of elite, which is super exciting.
Yeah, and one thing to mention, so the only operative that can actually do long-range shooting is the Venom Spitter, correct?
Yeah, and the Venom Spitter is interesting. So he actually only has an 8-inch range, but he has this Distend Dorsal Sac ability. It's 1 AP, guaranteed to use it every turn, I think, at least the first turn. But what that's going to do is it's going to remove the 8-inch range, it's going to add lethal 5, and add an attack on top of that to an already awesome a ranged weapon profile. But the nice thing about Distend Dorsal Sac is you use it once and it doesn't go away until you fire or you burrow. So this is sort of an objective guy that you want to sort of maybe be in your back objective. He's probably the one guy that you're like, I'm going to play sort of casually in the back with him because he can bump that ranged attack and really do some damage from far away. Whereas the rest of the guys kind of want to get into melee.
Now, one thing that I was also curious to hear your thoughts on, so when we're talking crit ops, right, as far as playing the objective, like, I could see these guys being a menace on secure, right? Just being able to, like, let's say your tunnel is on your home field objective or, like, just right next to it, you could just have the Venom Spitter just, he could pop out, shoot someone, come right back, right? Get that secure point and just kind of keep going back and forth, right?
Yeah, and I mean, part of their faction rules is they can, when they're counteracting, they can burrow for free. And really, I mean, in the early game, you are counteracting all the time with these guys. There's nobody that's going to counteract more than you, right? At 5 guys, even against elite teams, you're counteracting, which is not something that happens.
True, yeah.
You're going to have one until people start dying, of course. But I do think that there's like this team. If you like counteracting, this team is so much fun with that.
Now, do you have like an MVP that you would choose for this team? Like, obviously, you're going to take kind of the main 5, kind of leave the warrior at home.
Yeah.
What, like, obviously the Prime's a kind of a beast, but is there anybody else that you think might just kind of be like a bit of an underdog that we might not have like covered yet?
Yeah, I mean, so the Tremor Scythe and the Fell Talon, like I said, kind of have tunnel synergies there. So they're sort of the guys that are going to be handling, wherever you're going to put your tunnel, they're going to be the ones that are threatening that area. I really, really like the Wrecker. Not only did you called out, he's got a 4-up save, so he's going to be more survivable. He also has a, normal and critical damage of 4 or more is reduced by 1. Which is great because it's normal and crit, which is fantastic.
Oh, it's any damage?
Yeah, it's not just normal like a lot of those kind of rules are.
That's super good. Okay.
But he also has this Crush, which is a very strange ability, but it's interesting. It's just going to add a bunch of extra damage. So he's just a wonderful guy to just be off on his own, just destroying things, like almost a distraction Carnifex, which is fantastic because Carnifexes are Tyranids, so it's sort of in theme, right? But he has the survivability and the output to just be able to kind of go, do your thing, man.
Yep.
Destroy, like, make sure that they're not going over to this side of the board.
Now, one thing that I also just wanted to touch on, actually, before you do that, is there any like must-takes that you're like? Is there a strat play you're using every turn? Is there an equipment that you're like you can't leave home without it?
Yeah, I would say there is sort of there's not. None of these are 100% essential. I would say for the ploys, like versus shooting, there is a Tunnel Lurkers is a fantastic ploy that you'll be using all the time. It's a strategy ploy that essentially lets you get cover from your tunnel. You have light cover if you're on your tunnel. So that is almost guaranteed to use every time if you're facing a shooting army. I would say Tunnel Lurkers is a use every turn sort of thing from turn 2 on. Just because cover for those guys that are popping out, if you pop out of the earth and you devour a guy, you're going to be sitting on your own. You're going to be in conceal. This team probably won't ever leave conceal except for the Venom Spitter occasionally shooting.
Right. Yep.
But you're going to be concealed in the middle of nowhere if you're not careful. This gives you the cover that'll make that so that now that shooting army, you may have devoured that guy in melee, now they can't shoot you.
And you can still only burrow once per turn though, right? So you could you pop out, kill a guy, and then pop back into the burrow, or no?
That's a good question. I believe there's no, so burrow is an action.
Okay.
So therefore it is restricted to the amount of burrow.
Okay.
So you're not popping out and popping in left and right. It is only once. So once you commit to popping out, eating a guy, that cover save is going to be a big save for you.
But you could also burrow again on a counteract.
Yep,
Yeah,
absolutely.
okay. That would be,
and you get a free burrow on your counteracts.
Ooh,
so
okay.
yes, so there will be some play there, but on any given activation, you're limited to one. Death from below is another. If your enemy is dumb enough to go near your tunnel, death from below is where you want to be. Just pop up and do a bunch of damage. Rise out of sight is another strategy play that I feel like from turn 2 on, you're probably going to use every turn. It allows you to play super aggressively at the end of a turning point and just leave a guy out there, right? You could totally charge into some, like near your tunnel, charge into the guy, and then just be stuck out there. But then on your next turn, as a strategy ploy, you just pop him right into a burrow. And he can move. If he's within a few inches of your tunnel, because he charged out, he had to get out there to eat a delicious heavy gun servitor, he could pop right back in there, no problem.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, these guys are going to be beasts. I think that 5-up save is doing a lot of heavy work with the balancing for these guys, because I think especially... Actually, so before we start to kind of like close out here, I would like to talk about potential weaknesses. Of course, these things are still on Spruce. We haven't played with either of these new teams yet, but I think like anything that can do like piercing, or maybe even teams that have like a lot of like interrupts or like skipping activations, I could see those being very scary for these to go up against, like Inquisitorial or even like Mandrakes. I could see those. I could see the Raveners having kind of a bad time against. Yeah. But is there anything else that you might want to look out for? Like, is there like a specific like weapon profile you might like caution people against?
Yeah, I mean, anything high damage is going to put a lot of serious. Like heavy weapons are going to be the scariest thing to face. That's why you really have to be cagey with this team. I think turn 1 and 2, like turn 2 is still almost a staging turn for this team.
Okay.
Because you're still working that tunnel deep. And you're still like, you got to be in cover before you really blow out and just start eating stuff, consuming the biomass. But one last thing that I would like to talk about before we call this is tac ops. I think that's almost one of the biggest weaknesses for this team. I'm not sure I'm going to take primary tac op for this team ever. I think they're going to be killing, they're going to be consuming that biomass, they will get a good kill score, and I think they have great game into the primary into the crit op, because you pretty much can just take 2 objectives and be like, these are mine, not much you can do about it, which is wonderful. But tac op is interesting, so I think the default is champion. That's sort of, you're going to be killing, it kind of goes along with that, so I think it works out pretty well. I think overrun is a good sort of tac op, because again, with the idea of sort of being cagey 1 and 2, now all of a sudden, like maybe you let them get that center objective, or you let them sort of get up more, and then 3 and 4 is when you eat all the biomass and consume everything to continue the growth of the Tyranid hive. Storm objectives is kind of the same thing. Again, if you're going to be just tunneling like crazy, wait to them to take those 2 objectives, take their home, take the center, and then take them off of them. And, that's another great play. I think the infiltration stuff, you're not going to see too much. Implant, maybe against elites, because you're not necessarily going to consume them. Maybe you can get a point or 2. But I don't think this is a 6 tac op team. Like, you're going to get your 6 points every single game guaranteed, right? If they could plant beacons or something crazy with their 3 APL, that could be a lot of fun, but they can't. Surveillance and wiretap, again, also, I don't think you're going to be getting a lot of use of.
Yeah, I can see that being tough with having like a pretty small team, considerably.
Yeah, but they will kill and they will take the objectives, and it will be glorious. And so that's really what you got to focus your play on. But to wrap this up, I think that Raveners are a super exciting kill team. It adds such a new dynamic to this, to all the kill teams out there. It's an elite team that doesn't have any of the same hallmarks as any of the Astartes elite teams, which is really fun. Tons of wounds. Poor save means lots of cover has to be your key to winning. And it's so much fun. And I've been waiting forever for a Tyranid kill team, and it's so glorious to see these amazing miniatures done right.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, we're super pumped. And again, we're hoping to be doing a Raveners vs. Battleclade battle report sometime the next couple weeks. So yeah, we're gonna be in a mad dash to build and paint these, then you'll see Rob's Raveners then.
Yeah. Thanks again for tuning in to RSMP Tabletop. We're here at 5 Star Games in West Springfield again. Come on down, check out the links below, join the RSMP Discord, join the 5 Star Discord, and if you're looking for any kill team or 40K model kits, I'm not sure you could go to a better place than 5 Star.
The variety is insane, absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, and take care.